Hi and welcome back to another edition of Sprue Talk. Today we're joined by Chris and Stu. Chris is editor-at-large and Stu is the editor of Airfix Model World, or Key Model World. We've had a long-standing relationship with Key Publishing now for, how long has that been?
2014.
2014,
No,
wow.
Was it? No, 2010.
2010. So the magazine's been going since 2010.
Long, yep.
There you are.
Indeed.
So Airfix Model World's been going since 2010. Stronger than ever?
I think so.
Yeah, definitely. We've never lost any listings, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
Not that we're going to admit here anyway. So I guess we'll start off by sort of saying welcome. Thank you for coming down firstly. Making a drive down this morning. I know Margate is at the bottom end of nowhere, but just before you get your feet wet to France. But Chris, so you've been with the magazine
From the beginning.
Since the very beginning, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell me, how did you get into modelling? Because you're still a keen modeller now. You couldn't do your job without being that.
No, I've always loved modelling. Still to this day, I don't get as much time as I'd like these days through work and young family and everything. But no, I still model, absolutely. Lots of different brands, Airfix included. Started when I was about 5 years old.
5? So who introduced you into modelling?
My grandfather, actually. My grandparents were very active in my upbringing. Yeah. And my grandmother was a civilian aircraft mechanic in World War II at a little facility called Horsey Toll Maintenance Unit, just on the edge of Peterborough, where I'm from. And her stories of cleaning out sand from hurricanes and things like that, they're quite, they leave an impression. Yeah. And the other thing was my mother at the time worked at RAF Alconbury in Cambridgeshire. So I have quite fond memories of sitting in F5 Tiger 2s, Phantoms, amazing stuff for a young kid to get into.
Yeah, I bet. And then have you always modelled since then? Or did you
always. I mean, I used to sit with my granddad because on holiday, we'd get a little snap together kit or the latest Airfix or Matchbox, what have you, and we'd sit and do it together. Then just progressed and went on from there.
Oh, brilliant. And Stu, how about you? How did you get into modelling? Do you remember how old you were?
I can remember how old I was. I can't remember how exactly I got into it, but it was an Airfix Concorde when I was 6.
Oh, well, the vintage classic release, or it must have?
No, it was the Sky Kings, the first boxing of the Sky Kings, right, with the big star on the front of the box top. I remember building that on top of a fire guard. My dad watching on very carefully. To make sure
it's actually not the safest place to build a plastic model
the
kit.
fire wasn't burning, so we were all right. And I think after that it was the MRCA.
Yeah.
Where I then got helped out because I didn't follow the instructions and I glued the wings solid, so my dad managed to free them so they could work.
Non-swinging tornado.
It was at the time, yeah.
Do you think that modelling helped you in your careers as kids and then going through school? Then because you're both ex-services, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. Both ex-RAF. Certainly with patients, it helps massively, I think. But modelling helps in so many ways. Hand-eye coordination, patience, developing motor skills. It's a brilliant hobby for a youngster to get into.
Yeah. So did you model when you was serving?
I did. I probably did more then than I do now, actually. I was at RAF Lucas in Scotland. Yep. At the time when the Phantom was in service, but then as the Tornado just came in, the F3. But I've always been a Phantom fanatic. It's my favourite type, among a few others. The first aircraft I saw was an RF-4C Phantom, the reconnaissance variant, screaming down the runway at an air show at Alconbury, scared the bejesus out of me. But ever since then, I've been absolutely hooked.
Love Phantoms. And how about you, Stu? Do you think that made an influence on?
I don't know. It was more of a hobby, just something to relax and do. I had breaks from modelling, I think, as everybody does. But I got back into it when I was in the RAF, and even to the point where I started doing commission bills for some of the guys on some of the squadrons I worked with, which was good fun. Yeah,
well, that gives you a sort of a subject to focus on.
Yeah, and I've sort of carried it on ever since. Chris says he likes the Phantoms. For me, it's always been Jaguars.
Go to RAF Cosford, they've got plenty up there.
Oh, they've got a few, yeah.
So the latest issue, we've got one of the latest issues on the table with us today. You were telling me earlier over lunch that the latest one's just been printed, not with us. So this is our latest.
Yeah, sure.
Anything in particular in that issue that you're particularly fond of?
I think it's got to be the cover. Which is it's of the Hurricane. It's the 24 scale Hurricane, re-released recently as a vintage classic. There's a superb build in it by one of our contributors, and we had the opportunity to put Roy Cross's artwork on the box. I've loved his artwork since I got into modelling, really, and one of my earliest memories was the B17. I think it was a G, and so it was always I always kept an eye out for that. I built it at least twice, although not very well. So when the new one was released in very similar colours, it was one of those I just had to get. So that's the latest boxing.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a bit. Yeah. But and I think it's the first time that Airfix Model World has featured a Roy Cross illustration on the front cover.
It is.
Which is amazing, given that it's been going for so long and that's never happened. But
traditionally, we've always gone for the box art on the new toolings and reintroductions. So, the digital artwork by Adam Tooby, which is excellent. But there's something quite special about seeing Roy Cross artwork on the front cover of Airfix Model World. It's classic stuff, and it must have inspired so many people to start building.
Yeah, we get loads of comments now on social media and when we're at shows. That say exactly that sure. Roy Cross, that box artwork, when you walked into Woolworths and you bought your first kit, it was because which one did you choose? It was the one that looked the coolest, the one with the most flames or whatever.
So it's evocative stuff.
Yeah, and we've covered before in Sprue Talk how well the vintage classic range is doing for us, and how having that outlet, if you like, to bring Roy Cross artwork back into the range, because obviously it wouldn't fit very well with our new toolings and the red boxes and all that stuff. So to have a vintage nostalgic range that we can recirculate this artwork is a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah. And we're all nostalgic modelers. I mean, I relish the chance to build something that inspired me 30, 40 years ago.
Do you ever open the box and go, I don't remember it being like this?
Sometimes.
In a good way.
Oh yeah, sometimes, but it's just the fun of it. Your memory just floods back, and it's quite inspiring and fun, and gives you a warm and fuzzy feeling.
Yeah. How about you, Stu? I mean, you mentioned your first kit earlier. Was that a Roy Cross box front?
I can't remember if Concorde was or not, but I do remember the B17 and getting that, and the Lancaster.
The G for George.
I think it was G for George, yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be the earlier boxing, and then I think it was the subsequent boxing when they retooled the kit.
Yeah.
I think again that was his. And I mean the whole side of it and the vintage, looking back in time.
Yeah.
It's been fun for me because I have a little list of most of the kits that I remember building, and I'm slowly trying to re-establish all those. So that can be everything from Airfix's Saturn V. There's a Matchbox Heinkel 111 in the 3-colour plastic, and I've got it in the original 3-colour plastic, not in any reboxings. Anything like that, I like to get into. But even down to the ship kits I built all those years ago. So Cutty Sark.
So you're a bit of a collector as well as a modeller, because we find that there are different types of people. When some that will just. They will buy one kit, they'll model it, and they just move on to the next one. It's a bit of a sort of, they're just ticking the boxes.
Yeah.
We have others that will never build them, they just collect. So
that's not my cup of tea.
You're a builder.
I like my aim is to build as many as I can. I mean, with this, it's a case of trying to get the kits that I built back then and since got thrown away or moves or whatever. So just to try and rebuild a little bit of that nostalgia, remembering how it was and seeing what I can do better now.
Yeah. Well, you've both had a look through the showroom today, and then I left you alone for 15 minutes to try and pick something out for the table today, and you both came back.
It was trickier than I thought.
Yeah.
So much choice.
I only said you can't bring that one in, the Anson, because we're going to keep that one for another event we're going to do. But you eventually come back with something. So, Chris, you've gone for the Wildcat.
I have.
Which is a relatively new tooling for us, although we obviously have a history with it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I've seen the progression of sort of new Airfix, should we say, over the years since working on the magazine as assistant editor, then editor. The Wildcat particularly impressed me for the way it was designed, the undercarriage in particular. It's an intricate affair on the Wildcat, but it was superbly done. And for very little money, you've got an absolutely splendid model for Wildcat.
Yeah.
It's very, very neat, great aircraft, and a lot of fun.
And of course, the reissue of this kit this year with the Operation Torch box front.
Yeah,
they
always look good, those markers.
Yeah, with
whatever
the
they're
red,
on.
the yellow outline around the star is always quite something else.
Yeah.
And then, Stu, you've brought one of the larger kits in. Typical. No, you was going to pick up the Javelin, to be fair.
Yeah,
so
I know. I was wavering. I do like that.
Yeah.
I do
I
like
actually wavered on the other way because I was looking at the Spitfire Mark V, the new one, at first, and then looking at the B-17 and seeing, it's like, I remember the bit of lace markings that the original boxing was in, and it's, I'm going to go for that one.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great to get the Flying Fortress back in the range. As I say, I built them when I was a lot younger, and they're hard to get hold of now. So seeing a new tooling and seeing what fun you could cram into it, and that didn't have those strange hunched creatures over the guns, so that you could rotate the turret and move the guns. It was a delight to actually get hold of one and see just how far Airfix had actually come in the intervening years in terms of detail and refinement.
Yeah, it's a beautiful kit, and this one's been finished by Paramjet. Paramjet, the designer.
Did a good job.
Yeah, and I can't remember who designed it here, but I don't think it was Paramjet. But it's a brilliant finish.
Yeah, it
the
is.
B-17.
Sure, yeah.
And of course, for us, the B-17 opens loads of opportunities, decal scheme wise. Cool, interesting.
Loads of cool schemes.
I know.
Loads.
So, which is great for us because we can continue to rotate that product and in the range, and we can then look at new box illustrations. And we've already spoken about how a box illustration can really influence the sort of buying decision process. I mean, if you whilst we talk about P-17s, I'm now thinking about air shows this year, and of course we've got the B-17 in the UK that flies around. Are you guys planning on attending any air shows this year?
I've already done my first air show. I was at Shuttleworth's season opener on the first of May.
Weekend,
doing the make and paint, or helping out with make and paint there. And it was, what I love about Shuttleworth is just the range. Some air shows you'll get propellers, you might get the odd jet if they're allowed to fly, but Shuttleworth takes it all the way back. And I missed it this year because I had to leave, but they even had a 1909 Blériot flying.
Oh, wow.
It's the oldest flying aircraft in the world, I think.
Wow.
Look how things have changed in a short space of time.
It is crazy. I always find it's amazing. I think there's 10 years between the first Lancaster rolling off production and the first Vulcan.
Yeah,
10
crazy,
years.
isn't it? It's not much.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
You certainly couldn't have refilled the Lancaster on its way down to the Falkland Islands however many times.
No.
But how about you, Chris? Are you attending any air shows this year?
I hope to attend Fairford because it's been a long time since I've had a really good big fix of fast jets. I like my props and warbirds. I've been to Duxford until fairly recently, but I need some jet action, I think.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been to an air show. Been out of the business for so long, but I'm certainly looking forward to getting back and seeing some stuff. But I must say that I think there's something really special about seeing a vintage aircraft or a jet aircraft when you're not expecting it.
Well, very recently, in fact, just last weekend, we had a village fete close to where we live up in South Lincolnshire, and we were lucky enough to have the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight Lancaster fly over. 3 very spirited passes, and it really does make me shiver, honestly. Lump in the throat. It's just a magnificent thing to see.
Yeah, I've been out riding my mountain bike, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, Lancaster, and you sort of like, whoa, because you could be at any point in time with that flying over, especially with where I was. There was no roads or anything. There was no sort of history marks or anything. It was just this Lancaster.
It'll stop you in your tracks, though.
Yeah. I must have, the number of times I've been interrupted on the allotment by BBMF. Yeah. Because they seem to use Part Stanford as a turning point when they're routing. And so, okay, what's going on today? Oh, Dakota, Lancaster. Okay.
Lovely.
It's funny because, speaking of the Lancaster, many moons ago when I was in the Air Cadets, in my teens, one of my friends, a fellow cadet, actually became the lead navigator on the Lancaster years later.
So
after a navigating career on Tornado F3 and Hawk.
Wow! And he never got you a flight in one.
You can't get in that thing. I could be Tom Cruise and I wouldn't get in there.
Obviously, the magazine is done really well. We've mentioned that earlier. In terms of its history, is one thing, but where do you see the magazine going for this year and beyond? Much the same? Are you looking at changing anything in particular? Obviously, we've got some fantastic new kits coming through for us. I know you've already got test shots for. So
indeed, yeah, very exciting.
You're busy working on those. But anything different that the viewers can expect to see in the magazine?
We're looking at how best to present reviews in the magazine to try and make them more accessible as you open the page. That's hopefully going to be part of a bit of a refresh that will go on later on this year. But other than that, it's a case of looking at just how much we can add to a build. So whether we've just got the build itself, whether we want to bring in part of the Back to Basics series that we did back in 2020, and we're hoping to restart in about a month or so. We're probably going to start very basic there, so we'll get a starter set, and the challenge will be to use just what's in the starter set. Admittedly, there'll be a nail a sanding file and a few other bits and pieces to tidy things up. But in terms of gluing and painting, the aim is to use just what you get in the box.
It is achievable. That's why
Yep.
it's in the box.
Yeah.
And our new starter sets do include a sort of a cheat sheet to begin with little tools that you will find useful that you can find lying around the house. So that would be great to see.
Yeah, so it's going to go into that, and also when we supported the Spitfire launch at Duxford.
Yes.
I did a little bit of a show and tell, and out of curiosity, I asked the people in the audience how many people brush paint. And given how much you see at the moment in magazines, I was expecting a few. I wasn't expecting half the audience to put their hands up.
I was there when you asked that. It was literally split down the room, 50-50.
So I'm going to be looking in the Back to Basics. I'm going to look at how you can get the effects you get with airbrushes, whether or not, or how you can replicate that with a brush.
That'd be brilliant, because obviously a lot of people don't have the space,
No.
or indeed the cash to buy airbrushes and compressors, and then if you don't have the space, you need to buy all the booze and extraction kits and everything else.
Yeah,
so
you've got to do it safely and properly, but I think it just points back to the fact that there are a lot of modelers that still like to keep things fairly basic, but they'd like to do it in a really good fashion. And I remember in the early days of Airfix Model World, I was started a kind of a Back to Basics series for novice modelers, and it was about brush painting, and I had the new generation Hawk kit as an example. And it was all down to not using the paint neat from the tin. You've got to thin it
down a
give
little
it 3-4 different coats, not a brush mark on it. It can be done. It just takes a little bit of thought. And the right, nice soft flat brush, that kind of thing.
And that's just the learning process with anything, particularly
course,
modelling. But
you can do it.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. And then, Chris, you now look after Key Model World.
I do,
if I've said that correctly.
After-
So what is Key Model World for the viewers that...
It's the web presence of Airfix Model World, basically. It's one website run by Key Publishing. One half is Hornby Railways, and the other is Scale Modelling. So we'll cover Airfix products. We have editions of AMW on the site, PDFs. We do individual kit reviews. I'll do those in detail, lots of parts photos, and then they will be condensed, some of them, to go in AMW itself just a little later on. So we have exclusive content as well.
So an extension to the magazine, because obviously you can only get so much into there, so that works really well.
Yeah, we've got more space on the web to do it.
Yeah, of course. Well, as much as you want to buy a server for. So
quite right.
obviously the magazine is available in the majority of news agents, news stores, WH Smiths, etc., etc. And then, obviously your website, you can subscribe to the magazine, and Airfix club members get a discount through subscribing through the website as well. Key Model World, is that free to view parts, or is it subscription based?
We have it is subscription based, but the news is readable for free.
Okay.
But if you go onto keymodelworld.com, there's all the information there, and you can see free articles, news stories, and then behind the paywall there are larger features, exclusive content, how-to material.
Brilliant. Okay, so we'll put the links in the description to both the magazine and Key Model World.
Sure.
And for Airfix Club members, we'll put a link in the description for the club members area where you can find your discount code for the various bits and pieces that Key offer us. I think it's a discount to the books and bookazines on your site as well. So there's loads of reference material
Heaps.
that you can go on to Key and get a discount to buy and continue modelling and look at expanding your skill set. Is there anything else on Airfix Model, Key Model World, Airfix Model World that are you looking to change the website? Is there certain areas of that
Content-wise, we're looking to develop more video content as well. How-to demonstrations, things like that. We're sorting out a special area at the moment where we can do a lot more filming. Show people how to do things. And it falls in line with Stu's Back to Basics in the magazine itself.
That'd be great.
So I'm looking forward to doing that.
Yeah.
Chance to do a bit more modelling. So.
Yeah. And get paid for it, which is lovely.
Yeah, don't tell
get out of the house and
don't tell them. Don't
they all want a bit.
So today, obviously, this video is going out Sunday. So if you roll back to the Tuesday, we've just taken delivery of the new Sabre, the re-release. Well, sorry, it's a new issue with new parts.
Sure.
Chris, I think you mentioned earlier that was a particular interest. Was it Chris? Yeah.
Well, I've always liked the Sabre. A very pretty aeroplane.
The Norwegian Flying Aces scheme.
Yeah, it's very nice. I do really like the new Spitfire 18.
Yes.
It's obvious and clever to extend the Mark 14 moulding, make an 18 from it, but it's just a very, very good looking Spitfire, very sporty, and the scheme's cool as well.
Those schemes are very cool, aren't they? So that was that's available now on our site. Stuart, how about you? Anything that's so I think today we've just taken delivery of the Sabre, the new P51 re-release, and the Vintage Classic G50. It's just coming to our warehouse now. But anything recent months?
Recent, I think the Mosquito, the B16, the new tooling. Mainly because it's, for a long, long time, it's been the only two-stage Merlin Mozzie. So it's great to actually open the box and be able to build a late Mosquito without having to go out and fork out on an aftermarket set to chop off the front of the engines and stick a new piece on. And the fact that it's got the bits in there pretty much ready to go for a truck one, the target tugs, is brilliant from my perspective, because I've got a couple of ideas on what to do for that. And I'm just hoping and waiting to see what else comes out on it.
Yeah. This is spoilers.
Yeah. I've got to say,
I don't know, I've not been told that. Nobody tells me.
When the build went in Airfix Model World, I couldn't believe just how good it looked. Love Airfix. If you're not a big fan, it just shows what can be achieved with an Airfix kit with careful painting and building. The finished result was absolutely lovely.
And that was Parandrit's second product design.
He's quite a clever lad, isn't he?
Second or third. So I think it was a tank, the Spitfire that you see in the starter set and the classic set, the Mark 5C.
Good design.
And then that Mosquito.
Very impressive work.
Yeah, it is. And his fourth design, if you like, the one after that is the Buccaneer, the 148 scale Buccaneer. So
very excited about Buccaneer. Dale.
I know we was talking about it in the office earlier when he was asked to, would he be willing to have a stab at that? He was very nervous.
Well, he might have been, but it doesn't show because it looks very, very good.
It's a beautiful model.
Having had my head up in the Bombay, the real thing on various occasions, it does look good.
Yeah. The Mosquito, you mentioned sort of possible future issues of that kit. Of course, where possible, whenever we're researching and designing subject, I won't necessarily just say aircraft, because we've done it with the two Cromwells, 35th scale Cromwells, of course.
Sure.
We always look at how many other variants we can get out of the tooling, and if we can design something in such a way that adding a separate sprue to that makes it viable and we can get another release later down the line, then of course we always look at that. So
it makes perfect sense economically.
yeah, exactly. And we've done it with, I mean, we always look to do it. So the Mosquito is certainly one of those subject matters that we've done it to. I don't think any of the models on the table here we've been able to do it, and the Buccaneers have a history with us of the 72nd scale, bringing out the Royal Navy version, the Fleet Air Arm version, the RAF version.
Yeah, Phantom's a good example as well.
Yes, yeah. So
the Navy and then RAF is perfect.
Yeah, so the 148 sail Buccaneer. You guys have got test shots of that already, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's another set of test shots on my desk upstairs for that. So who's building that? You've got a guy external.
Who have we?
It's one of our contributors, Richard Spreckley,
Yeah.
has got that. So sorry, Richard. We'll make sure I'll let you know beforehand so you don't get deluged with requests for photos.
Yeah. It's got to go in the magazine first.
Yeah.
It's a very good looking kit though.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Great detail.
Is there any particular areas on that? I know you would have both trawled over that. I know you were particularly excited when the package arrived.
Yeah, well, as I say, having worked on the real thing back in the day as a civilian after the RAF, worked with the MOD Buccaneers up at West Sprue in Scotland on bomb fuse testing.
Okay.
And got occasionally in the cockpit, but mostly sort of on the underside with the weapons bay. It's just a great replica.
Yeah. And Stu?
I think the way that the cockpit's been replicated, I've sat in there. I was measured up during my a failed attempt to be a navigator. I just about fit, but just seeing how well the inside has been reproduced, that and the undercarriage, which if you ever get the chance to see one up close, it looks like it's been drop forged instead of machine. It's massive. Yeah. I think I can walk underneath the wing without ducking.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
What we'll do is we'll put some frames up of those parts, those CAD images, for the viewers who might not be too familiar with the kit coming through. Yeah. We're actually due to go down to, I think it's Cirencester, will they taxi the Buccaneer?
Oh, Kemble.
Yeah. The Teabaggers.
Yeah. Good bunch of boys.
Yeah, link in the description for those guys. Big shout out to them. So they've got another taxi run in a month's time or so.
It's a good opportunity for modellers to get some detail shots.
Yeah, and also just hear it, smell it, feel it as that taxi's down the runway.
So are you going to be sitting in the back as it's taxiing?
Well, we did. We did ask. And they did say yes, and then they put a price on it. and company credit card wouldn't allow it. So,
you can look on lovingly.
I shouldn't have asked. I should have just done it and then given the receipt in. But no, I wouldn't do that. But.
Well, for your future video sessions, we'll know if you did because you'll be smiling so much. Your head's going to hinge.
I know, indeed. I know. That's we've been very fortunate actually. To sit in so many aircraft since I've been back in August, and actually we tried to make it a bit of a thing when a few of us go out and say how many aircraft can we get in, and and just really take in from a different angle.
It's a good experience just sitting in a classic aeroplane. You can take a lot from it.
Yeah, we did that. You mentioned Jaguars earlier, and. Me and a couple of guys went up to RF Cosford. It was the day before Telford Scale Model World. So we went up to, milling around the museum, or went to mill, have a little look around the museum. We had an appointment up there, so no spoilers. But we were about 3 hours early for our meeting. The museum wasn't open. We were that early.
Keen then?
Yeah, very keen. So I tweeted the RAF Cosford, and who we have a relationship with, and they let us in and wandered around, and it was amazing to see all their kit, all the Tornadoes and Jags in there. So we got to sit in loads of stuff, and then we went for our meeting in the museum, and we told them, it was like, right, we can't be outdone by the RAF, so here's the keys for the Lincoln. So we're literally climbing around in the back of that Lincoln, which is very, very cool.
One of my favourite aircraft.
Yeah.
One of my favourite aircraft.
That was... I have yet to try and sit in the tail gunner position of that, but I don't think
chop your legs off
being at 6 foot just over 6 foot tall, I think I'm going to struggle.
Yeah.
But so I just sat up in the the navigator pilot position. I was quite comfortable up there.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
I'm very fond of Cosford, actually, having done my armourer training there, back in the day. But it looked a lot different back then in the 80s, believe me, with some very interesting types in those engineering hangars.
I bet.
That aren't there now, sadly.
No, they're a great bunch, both the RAF side, but the museum, Royal Air Force Museum, Cosford, and the guys down at Hendon.
Great museum.
Good
content.
Both run by some fantastic teams down there. So if you're ever in the area, North London RAF Hendon Museum or Shropshire RAF Cosford Museum, then definitely it's worth a visit. And I think they're free as well.
They are, which is fantastic value.
Unreal. And the Cosford, the Cold War hangar, the TSR2 and everything.
Some lovely types.
I know.
I spent a long time in there just cooing over. It's just very, very cool.
They let us sit in the aardvark afterwards as well.
Yeah, all right.
I thought that might get you.
Yeah, thanks for that.
They let you out. Oh.
Yeah. So brilliant. I mean, in terms of future releases we've got coming up for this year that have been announced, of course. I've let you into a couple of secrets today, which I most probably you'll be shot for now. But you guys have already got test shots for the Buccaneer, the big Spitfire. You haven't yet, I don't think.
Not yet.
I know you're itching to get them. But which of those two, if you had to pick one, you're going to choose Buccaneer, aren't you? But then you've chosen the Spitfire 18.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I think I love the Buccaneer, but for the sheer level of detail on that Spitfire, I think that might just be it. It's very, very impressive.
Yeah, those schemes, those decal schemes that come with it as well.
Really interesting choice of schemes.
Yeah. Stu, how about you?
I mean, I'd probably have to build a couple before. So if we can come back in about 6 months. No, I think if I'm honest, it's got to be the Spitfire, because if I remember rightly, I think that was the first of the super kits I ever built, which is back in the old Mark One. So I think from almost like a nostalgia view, I think I'd have to go with the Spitfire.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, I'd have to give the Anson a shout, though, because previously, it's not a glamorous type, and it's not been on my radar that much, to be honest. But when you actually see the kit, you can't fail to be impressed by what's been crammed in it, with the detail, and it kind of goes along my opinion that a lot of people don't know what they want to build and see until it's in front of them.
Yeah.
And I certainly would want to build an Avro Anson, having not been a massive fan of it before, purely because it looks so darn good.
Yeah. When we announced that our range announcements back in January, obviously the Anson was a bit of a dark horse.
Yeah. Left field.
And the amount of people that have come out and said, I never thought about the Anson, but actually...
But now it's here.
Yeah.
Well, soon.
Well, it will be soon.
Yeah.
The detail, and because it's that sort of glass...
You can
size,
see so much of it, can't you?
Yeah, you can see all that interior detail and the lamp on the navigator's bench and everything, the detail. That's a real project of love by Matt, our designer, who we're getting to talk about the Anson and the research and R&D process of that kit. But,
we'll certainly look forward to having it in Airfix Model World and on keymodelworld.com. And then it will be also good to see what kind of results people get with it at model shows when you start seeing them on the tables. People's different sort of levels of creativity and different schemes. That'd be great.
Yeah, the two canopies as well, the sloped and the sort of early and late versions as well. Which
it'd be good to see people's builds out in display case in AMW as well.
So really hoping that the Buccaneer and Spitfire, and at the moment, and I do touch wood on here, that the release dates for those are a month or two before Scale Model World.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping.
Good to see some there.
Yeah, and I think the Anson is maybe just before Scale Model World as well. So I think we're unlikely to see any built there, but
you'll see some people burning the midnight oil.
I hope so.
Beforehand to try and get these things finished.
It'd be amazing.
Without we're still getting some good results.
Yeah. So brilliant. In terms of Airfix Model World, are you going to any events as a magazine, as a publisher? Which events are you going to? Where can people come and find you and speak to you?
Well, Stu's just done Milton Keynes.
I've just done the Milton Keynes show, which I think it's just the second time they've held it in the big football stadium. I don't know if it's an exhibition room or a conference room, but that was very impressive. And I think that's the first really big show of the year that I've been to. Although I'm planning on doing a lot more as the year goes on. Basically, if I can get to it fairly easily, then I'll go and I'll just. It won't be a case of I have a desk anywhere. I'll just go and report on it. So people will see me wandering around with a camera, a notebook,
and they can accost you.
I'm free. I am free.
Oh,
I wish.
On a regular basis, doesn't it?
Being accosted, yes. Yeah. Coffee, not so often. So
milk or frothy milk?
Coffee.
That's a little
in joke.
Earlier.
We won't go there.
I just want milk. Yes. What type?
Just milk.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll be wandering around, photographing people's bills, having a chat with people, seeing how the clubs are doing. If they want to get their details into the magazine, we've got the club scene page just to let people know where their local clubs can be.
Yeah.
Because I know just after lockdown ended, I think one of the most common questions I was getting via email was, "Where's my nearest club?" So it was great to help people out and push them towards that. So that's why I started up the club scene.
Oh, brilliant. And that's in the magazine, or is that's on the website?
It's in the magazine, and it gets published each month on the website.
Oh, brilliant. So people can go onto the site and have a look there. And the other week we had Models for Heroes in, and I know you're a big supporter. You're both a big supporters of Models for Heroes. And I know you donate a lot of the model kits that don't get used, the samples and bits and pieces to those guys. Yeah. So this week is Mental Health Awareness Week.
Yeah, well, it's a worthy cause.
Yeah,
definitely.
So I know you guys are a big supporter of that, so a big shout out to you for doing that. So yeah, great. In terms of model shows, obviously you've just been to Milton Keynes, Telford, of course, and then you do all the small ones in between.
Yeah, I'll basically, sometimes I could be going 2-3 shows a month.
Wow.
Just driving out, parking up, usually finding a coffee somewhere without being accosted, and then going in, having a chat with people, and that's for me actually that's half of the job.
Yeah,
is getting out and meeting everybody, having a chat with them. I've tried doing sometimes it's great to be able to be behind the stall and chat with people there, but sometimes I find it's much better to just get out to them on the stands.
It's also a good opportunity for us to find good contributors for the magazine and the website, because that's not an easy prospect.
I was going to ask that actually, but I wasn't too sure whether I should do. So if
it's
people
fine. I mean, it takes some dedication to be an Airfix Model World contributor. I mean, we are sticklers for quality. We like the models to look as good as they can. You've got to be able to photograph it well. One of my bugbears is out of focus model shots. You can't see all the detail. So we try and coach new contributors if they're not conversant with camera skills and lighting already. We try and coach them and get them to where they need to be. The writing, I mean, words are easier to fix than photos, as you can appreciate. We can help with writing skills as well. When I'm a trained journalist, I can always impart, coaching to anybody that needs it.
Oh, brilliant. So people go on the website, contact us, and sort of fill the form in and
speak to Stuart. That shows if you want to show an interest in being a contributor, he's more than happy to speak.
Cost me to show, yes.
With a coffee.
Hey, if it's with a coffee, that's even better.
Yeah. Especially if it's frothy.
Yeah. No, it's just straight milk.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So we was talking about shows and also model clubs.
Yeah.
You are a member of an IPMS group?
Yeah, the Brampton Club, which meets in Sawtry pretty much every week.
Where do they meet, sorry?
In Sawtry.
Sawtry.
Just outside, not far from Huntingdon, in Cambridgeshire.
Meet
one of the few clubs that meets, I think, every week.
Yeah.
It's just a good bunch of crazy people who build model kits for fun.
Yeah, and you build model kits in the evenings when you get together, or you chat all things models? Or?
It's a bit of both. Some people will bring bits and pieces to work on, or kits to work on. For the rest of us, it's having a look at what's just been finished by somebody's just finished, or we'll just have a chat about things. Yeah. Occasionally, we have themed nights, and generally the aim is to try and find as tenuous a link as possible to the theme.
Okay, I must admit, theme nights does start to sound a little bit dodgy. So. Model club went out of my head, but
no. if you have a warped sense of humour, yeah, you got me. If you've got a warped sense of humour, the theme nights are a great chance.
Okay, well maybe we won't open that door because
That's another night.
You can take a theme like something like the weather.
Okay.
And then you can have a mix of aircraft that's got an F-15 in it. You can have a Mirage. Now, the Mirage is nice and easy. The Mirage that you get in the deserts, but the F-15 from Desert Storm.
Oh, okay.
And it's
Okay.
just
Lateral
it's all lateral thinking.
It's not what I thought.
Obviously not.
No.
We do have a couple of members who have a particular knack for finding the most obscure links, and it's always worth listening to the tale that usually is spun beforehand to find out. Okay, are we going to guess the link?
Where are they going to go with this? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's IPMS Brampton, and I know you guys support us with various shows during the course of the year with making paints. We supply you the kit, and you go and run that. So thank you for that, and the guys that run that for the club. And Airfix, we're long supporters of IPMS. And of course, they're the guys that run Scale Model World in November.
Of course,
And we're talking to them about doing some various bits and pieces with their magazine and their organisation and how we can help each other. So hopefully that will just make us all that much stronger.
Yeah, I was looking forward to Telford again,
I
which I missed sadly because of the dreaded Rona last time.
Yeah, I know. I was
not happy.
You went though, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
I was there. Somehow or other, I escaped.
You've not had it yet, have you?
No, I've not. No.
Twice.
I've not
By a
had it.
fluke.
I've never tested positive.
No,
Really?
No.
no symptoms either.
Despite being jabbed, but there you go.
I know. It's bizarre. Really looking forward to Telford this year.
Yeah.
Telford last year was great. I mean, it was 2 halls, so significantly smaller than usual.
But I
they
think
moved
on
the
any
competition
year,
halls.
on any year, it's a really great experience for somebody that hasn't been before.
Yeah.
There's a lot of modelling to see.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of inspiration, some great products to buy. Sometimes some, Airfix
Announcements.
yeah. Some great ones in the past that's taken everybody by
You've lined me up
surprise.
there, Chris.
Sorry. Yeah.
No Airfix announcements planned this year.
Well, if Chris didn't, I was.
You guys normally get the first stoop of it anyway, so
We do, and we're very thankful for that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
So Scale Model World. So really looking forward to being there this year and having you guys next to us. And I urge any young or any new modeller, should I say, not necessarily young, to if you just got into modelling and you're wondering what this is, just go up there for the day
it's a lot of fun.
and just see what it's about
Soak up
because
the
you
atmosphere.
will be inspired to do something, won't you? You'll come away from there not spending much money with a couple of kits. You would have had an amazing day speaking to the various model clubs that have stands there, the various other brands and corporations and stuff. So
I always come away from it absolutely buzzing with ideas of what I want to build next. It's very inspirational.
yeah, I always go, I must build a kit. I must build a kit.
A kit,
And I come back to the office and I'm just spreadsheet. So, this year, maybe I'll put one in the competition. Create a new category for me so I can...
Or we'll get you to do one make and paint, and we'll get these guys to video as you do it.
Could do. I think...
Slow process, maybe.
I'm very busy. Yeah.
No, it's all right.
That's great. Okay, guys. So, thanks very much for coming down
pleasure.
today.
Pleasure to come.
I know it's not just 5 minutes down the road, but it's been fantastic catching up.
Always good to see you.
And if you've been inspired by any of the items we've talked about today in the video, then check out the links below in the description. If you've never picked up an issue of Airfix Model World, go and to your local newsagents or WH Smith's or the website and have a look. Definitely have a look at Key Model World and the website are there and the news articles. And as I said, if you're a club member, you get various discounts off of that stuff. And we're going to start communicating a little bit more with when the magazines are out, and we'll start to put that on our social media platforms as well. So, thank you very much. Don't forget to like us, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and safe journey home. I can kick you out now before I tell you anything I shouldn't have told
Can I
you.
go in the shop?
You can go in the shop first. Of course you can.
Don't tell my wife, though, Stu.
All good tours finish in the gift shop. So
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
Quite right.
brilliant. Thanks very much, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Cheers. No worries.